Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a hot topic shaking up the global economy: the new reciprocal tariffs announced by the United States. On April 2, 2025, President Donald Trump unveiled what he's calling Liberation Day for American trade, promising to level the playing field with over 180 countries. But what does this mean for the US, for you, and for the world? Stick around as we break it all down in just a few minutes. What are the tariffs? So, let's start with the basics. These reciprocal tariffs are all about fairness, at least that's the pitch. The US is slapping a 10% baseline tariff on all imports starting April 5th. That's right, every country shipping goods to the US gets hit with this. But it doesn't stop there. For about 60 countries labeled as the worst offenders, there are steeper tariffs kicking in on April 9th, calculated at roughly half of what the US says those countries charge American goods. For example, China's facing a new 34% tariff on top of an existing 20%, bringing it to a whopping 54%. Vietnam's looking at nearly 50%, while the EU gets a blanket 20%. Trump says this will bring jobs and factories roaring back to America. But here's the catch: some key goods like pharmaceuticals, semiconductors, and cars are exempt, at least for now. How did they come up with this? Now, you might be wondering, how did the US decide these numbers? Well, it's not exactly a mirror image of other countries' tariffs. The White House claims it's about balancing trade deficits, basically, how much more the US imports from a country compared to what it exports. Take India, they're getting a 26% tariff because the US says India charges 52% on American goods. Critics, though, argue this math is fuzzy and doesn't fully reflect actual tariff rates, like Australia's 10% tariff despite a free trade deal with zero tariffs on US goods. It's less about exact reciprocity and more about flexing economic muscle. Global reactions. So, how's the world reacting? It's a mixed bag. China's already vowing resolute countermeasures, calling it unilateral bullying. The EU is predicting economic chaos, but holding off on retaliation for now. India's playing it cool, saying it's not a setback, especially since their pharmaceuticals dodged the hit. The UK got off light with just the 10% baseline, thanks to balanced trade with the US. Meanwhile, countries like South Africa and Lesotho are bracing for 30% and 50% tariffs respectively. This could spark a global trade war or force new deals. Either way, prices for stuff like clothes and electronics might climb here in the US. And there you have it, the US's new reciprocal tariffs in a nutshell. Will this supercharge American industry like Trump promises, or just